Hello, and thank you for showing our interest in our Marine Economy Week events. This is the second year that we've hosted the Marine Economy Week, and it's a real privilege to bring together such an important range of stakeholders, all with a vested interest in the growth and protection of Scotland's marine economy. The purpose of this video is to collate and summarise the key themes of discussion and the talking points from each of the 5 sessions. Each event was recorded, but we wanted to produce a summary of these discussions, and I hope you will find it useful. If you registered and logged into one or more of our events, thank you very much for doing so, and we do hope you found it both interesting and insightful. If you have any questions or thoughts on future themes or speakers, please just get in touch with us. We really would welcome it. Thank you also to all of our speakers for providing us with their insights and giving us their time, including, of course, the Scottish Government Minister for Business, Trade, Tourism and Enterprise, Ivan McKee, MSP. Now, we started the week by providing our own overview of Scotland's rich marine economy, highlighting its breadth and diversity, and particularly in the context of the Scottish Government's vision for what it calls the blue economy and its new strategy document, which was published recently. Day one was an opportunity for us all to take stock of the opportunity within our marine economy, touching on the significance of the latest Scottish Wind leasing round, the launch of Orbital Marine's new tidal turbine, and the innovation within our increasingly valuable aquaculture sector. We provided an overview of Scottish Government's most recent budget, which outlined a range of marine economy commitments, including £650 million for ongoing support for our rural economy, our agriculture, fishing and seafood sectors. We also provided attendees with a summary of the latest funding initiatives in support of the sector's growth, particularly in light of the European Maritime and Fisheries Fund no longer accepting applications from within Scotland. However, there are a range of funding options available, as we heard, including the UK Seafood Fund and the Green Offshore Tech Project. So the topic for day 2 was ports and harbours, and this session was chaired by our own partner, Chris Kerr, and we were fortunate to be joined by Ivan McKee, MSP, the Minister for Business, Trade, Tourism and Enterprise, and he provided, obviously, the keynote address. Mr. McKee gave a very insightful vision, I thought, of Scottish Government's ambition for the blue economy, particularly when considering the 2 green free ports which will be created in Scotland. Joining Mr. McKee on our panel was Richard Ballantyne, Chief Executive of the British Ports Association, and Steve Regan, owner of the Ardersier Port Authority Energy Transition Facility. Now, Richard underlined the strength and size of the UK and Scotland's ports and harbour sector, which handle 95% of UK's trade and employs more than 115,000 people. England is currently in the process of setting up a number of new free ports, which may act as a precursor to the 2 new green free ports, which are in the process of being created here in Scotland. Steve Regan provided the developer viewpoint and the exciting progress being made at Ardersier, the role it intends to play in Scotland's net zero ambitions, supporting the ScotWind leasing project. The owners of Ardersier are also embracing, as we heard, circular economy principles and practices. Just as we were hosting day 2 of the Marine Economy Week, the Queen's speech was taking place, which included the Harbour Seafarers and Remuneration Bill in response to the concerns arising from the much publicised P&O ferries issue. We await to see how that bill will be received by the sector, but undoubtedly it is a piece which we will be closely monitoring and providing updates to our clients who may be impacted. On to day 3, and the topic of discussion was innovation in the aquaculture section, and one of our IP and technology partners, Jamie Watt, was joined by Hanny Mertens, Chief Operating Officer of Aqua Pharma Group, the Norway-based but global veterinary services provider to the aquaculture industry. Hanny covered a range of topics, including the developing trends, challenges for the sector, and the emerging regulatory themes. An important thread running through this discussion was that while our waters are perfectly suited for aquaculture, operators are acutely aware of their responsibilities to the environment. The concept of welfare below the waters, circular economies, and environmental footprints are becoming increasingly important for the aquaculture operators. The aquaculture sector has proven its agility and credentials at being at the forefront of innovation in the face of numerous challenges such as sustainability and consumer demand. The opportunities are definitely there for the Scottish sector to work collaboratively with other nations and indeed other sectors to harness the most from our water's natural capital. On day 4, we considered marine and offshore renewable energy, and we were joined by William Black, Deputy Director of Energy Strategy and Strategy Coordination and Energy Consent within the Scottish Government, and Andy MacDonald, Director of Offshore Wind Development and Operations at OR Catapult, the UK's leading innovation and research centre for the offshore renewable energy sector. The session was hosted by one of our energy partners, Omar Ali, and a planning partner, Peter Ferguson. It was natural that a large part of this discussion would focus on ScotWind. It's the first round of offshore wind leasing in Scotland for a decade and the world's largest offshore leasing competition. It's clear the significance of ScotWind to Scotland's net zero ambitions and the opportunity for the supply chain to support such a major piece of Scottish infrastructure. There's discussion centred around the key factors which would make ScotWind a success for all the stakeholders, including the communities closest to the developments. True collaboration amongst those stakeholders will be very important, including the infrastructure and skills required, regulators, planners, and developers. The last session of the week was on the theme of people and skills and was hosted by Employment Senior Associate Ewan Stafford and our Senior Associate specialising in immigration matters, Ashley Fleming. We were joined by Martin Leyland from Shetland Seafood Auctions and Angus Ferguson from Onboard Maritime, a specialist training provider for the maritime sector. Martin underlined the importance of Shetland to our seafood industry. It's the second largest port in the UK for landed fish. Prior to the pandemic, there were more fish landed in Shetland than the whole of England, Northern Ireland and Wales combined. Now, the maritime sector in Scotland provides 75,000 jobs, which is around 3% of the total Scottish workforce. More than a quarter of Scotland's fishing workforce is not from the UK, and nearly 1 in 5 are not from the European Economic Area. A key area of discussion was around the challenges in the sector to adequately attract, recruit and retain skilled people, particularly in the more remote areas of Scotland. This is no mean feat when you consider that Scotland's marine area is 7 times greater than its landmass. The topic of immigration as a route to solving some of Scotland's recruitment challenges was explored, as well as the transition of skills from either different sectors or different parts of the world. Given where the sector is emerging from the pandemic and still managing the impact of Brexit, the discussion touched on what operators could be doing now to help overcome some of these people challenges. So there we go. If you've reached this point, thanks again for showing an interest in our Marine Economy Week events. While there are definitely opportunities in Scotland's marine economy, there are also, as we know, many challenges to overcome, and hopefully we shared potential solutions with you. The Scottish Government outlines some 25 different subcategories which make up our marine economy with all that consequent opportunity. Our Marine Economy Week brought together as many of those sectors as was practical, but there are some underlying themes which we can all take away, those of innovation and collaboration, while protecting our very precious marine environment. Please contact any member of our marine economy team if you'd like to discuss any of these areas. And finally, thank you for listening to me. Goodbye.